Hey now, going live now, just sitting there a second ago, but we are ready now to engage on YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok. How's it going? I'm Brian Manning. I am a political asylum lawyer. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help people all over the country to secure their future in the United States through asylum. I'm going to take your questions and answer them today. So let me know, what questions do you have about getting asylum in the United States? Go ahead and say hello down in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to hear where you guys are at. So feel free to say hello. Tell me what's going on. Tell me where you're watching from. I love hearing where you guys are at. And let's, yeah. Right. Oh, yeah, on TikTok. Good point. Good point. Okay. 1 second on TikTok here. Yep. Got it. Okay. So I'm going to say a few words about something that's really important. This is something that's come up a couple times recently, and I want to make sure that you know about it because this thing, if you do it, it can count as immigration fraud. Okay. This can be a reason for the government to deny your case and to ban you from getting any immigration benefits in the future for like anything. So it's really important. All right. So I'm going to tell you about this thing that's immigration fraud that you probably don't even think is immigration fraud, or you might be tempted to do. I don't want you to do it. So I want you to know about it. But before I do that, go Rochester, New York, over on TikTok. Hello, hello. And let's see where our people are in the chat. Turn it on the chat in YouTube and TikTok. We got TikTok and we got Facebook, and we got LinkedIn. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. All right. So here's what I want to say. People try to game the system and have their asylum case heard in an asylum office that is more favorable to asylum seekers. Now, it makes sense, right, to want to have your asylum case considered at an asylum office with a high approval rate as opposed to an asylum office with a low approval rate. Now, this goes based on where you live. You don't just get to sort of pick and choose. Oh, I want my asylum case, to have my interview in San Francisco because I've heard that one has a really high approval rate. It does. Rather, it goes by where you live. Each of the offices has a geographical area that it covers, a jurisdiction. All right. And if you move from one area to another, you may move from the jurisdiction of one office into the jurisdiction of another office such that your asylum case will be transferred to that new office, right? Well, oh, hey, good to see you too. Here's, nice. Thanks for commenting. So here's the thing. People will often lie about this. Yeah, lie. I got to use the word lie. They'll often lie about this and say, well, you know what? I moved from the jurisdiction of the Houston Asylum Office over to Newark, New Jersey, because that one has another office with a high approval rate, right? So people will sometimes lie about this. Now, I was reminded of this yesterday when I was on Facebook, and there was this group for asylum seekers, not my group, by the way. If you don't know, I've got a group on Facebook called Asylum Seekers United, but this was another group for asylum seekers. And someone posted on there, it was not a lawyer, a non-lawyer posted, oh, you can just go have your case heard at another asylum office. Just use the address of like a friend or family member there or something. Just give them that address and do the change of address form and ask them to transfer the case to the new office and you'll be fine. Friends, that is immigration fraud, okay? Lying about where you live for the purpose of trying to get a better asylum office is immigration fraud, all right? And here's the thing. They actually catch people doing this trick all the time. So I used to be an asylum officer with the Houston Asylum Office. For those of you just now joining us, hello. I'm Brian Manning. I'm an asylum lawyer, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government. I was at the Houston Asylum Office, right? And we would view suspiciously people who had changed addresses, especially if it was like right before the interview. But even if it wasn't right before the interview, if someone changed from a jurisdiction of a tougher asylum office to an easier one, we would ask a lot of questions to see if they really, in fact, had moved to the new place. So back then, the Houston Asylum Office had a significantly higher approval rate than the Miami Asylum Office. It's still, I think, it's a little bit higher now, but the gap has closed. They're both really bad. But back then, Houston was quite a bit higher than Miami. And so we would get a lot of people that we would see that they had come originally to the United States and settled in Miami and lived in Miami, and their case was pending in Miami. But then their cases would get transferred to Houston. And a lot of it was, there was a lot of fraud because people were, yes, trying to just have their case heard in a place that's more favorable. And a lot of these people did have family or friends in Houston. And so they would just use their address and be like, oh, I moved. So my case should be with Houston now, right? And so what happens is at the asylum interview, you might get asked a lot of questions from the asylum officer about where you live. Like what they'll do is they'll Google the address that you supposedly live at now, and they'll look at like Google Street View, and they'll be like, oh, so right next door to your house that you live at, is it like another houses on either side of you, or is it like a residential, or is it like a commercial complex or an open field, or what's next to your house? Because they can see it on Google Street View, right? And so if the person doesn't know, if they're like, oh, it's other houses, but they're like, no, wrong. It's an open field on one side and it's like a grocery store on the other side, then they're going to think that you're lying. They're going to think that you have just given a false address because you wanted to have your asylum case heard at an asylum office where it really shouldn't be heard. So this is immigration fraud, all right? I think that some people have this idea that like it's not that big of a deal. Like you're not, it's like, oh, I'm not lying about my underlying asylum case. I'm not, I'm not lying about like what happened to me in my country or anything like that, right? So it should be okay. But no, that's not how it is. It's not okay. You might get caught. Even if you don't get caught, it's unethical, right? I mean, it's lying. It's fraud. But also you might get caught. There's a very real chance, in fact, that you can get caught because asylum officers are trained to sniff this stuff out, right? I promise you, asylum officers love looking for fraud. They see fraud everywhere, and they just love looking for it. So be careful. Don't lie about where you live. Okay. Remember, in the immigration court context, it's different. With the asylum offices, when you move, if you move from one address that's in a certain jurisdiction into the jurisdiction of another asylum office, the case transfer happens like automatically. You don't have a choice. In immigration court, though, it's different. In immigration court, your case stays where it started, unless and until you ask for it to be moved. Like if you move closer to another immigration court, you can make a motion to ask the judge in your case at the old court to transfer it to closer to you at the new court. Sometimes the judge will do this on their own without you asking, or sometimes the prosecutors from ICE will ask that the case be transferred. But usually it just stays where it is until you ask the judge. And if you actually have moved and you've done the change of address form with the court, then usually, they will usually approve your request to change. But here you can actually exercise some strategic decision-making, let's say, which is to say, if you move, then when you're in immigration court proceedings, you don't have to ask for that change of venue. You don't have to ask for that case transfer. You do have to notify the court of your change of address using Form EOIR 33, but you don't have to ask that the case be transferred. So if you move from a place that has a high approval rate to a place where the courts have a lower approval rate, then you should probably not ask for your case to be transferred to that new court, right? I mean, that makes sense. And that's okay. You don't have any kind of duty to affirmatively ask that your case be transferred from one immigration court to another. You have a duty to do the change of address form, to notify the court of your new address, but you don't have a duty to ask for the case to be transferred. That's something that you should probably talk about with an asylum lawyer in terms of, the strategy for how best to handle this question of whether to ask for your case to be transferred to a new immigration court or not. That's what I wanted to say. Let's go to the questions. All right. So, hello. Nice. Okay. On YouTube, let me see what questions we got on YouTube. All right. Nice. Watching from Miami. Yep. Lots of clients in Miami. Hey, how are you? Good. And we've got Jorge in Chicago. Nice. Jorge, thanks. Jorge, you're on TikTok. I've got a Spanish language TikTok channel. It's called, that's my YouTube. It's called Abogado de Asilo. That's my at. By the way, for those of you watching on LinkedIn and Facebook, and those of you on TikTok, let me invite you to check out my YouTube channel, okay? Go to YouTube and search for Political Asylum Lawyers. That's the name of my law firm. And you're going to find some stuff that I think is going to be really helpful for you in trying to prepare and present the strongest asylum case possible. Okay. Go to the playlist tab and you're going to see one of the playlists is called like full length trainings. And that's where I've got super detailed trainings, tutorials all about different topics that you need to know about, from the application form to, preparing for your asylum interview or doing your hearing in court. You're going to find some really detailed, substantive trainings that I think are going to help you increase your chances for asylum success. So go to YouTube and search for political asylum lawyers. All right, let's do some questions. What do we have here? Actually, before questions, if you want to talk with us, you want to schedule a consultation with someone from my law firm so we can assess your situation and tell you whether we think we might be able to help you, the easiest way to do that is go to the website winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. It's winasylum.com. You can schedule a consultation. It's super quick and easy to do it from that website. For those of you that are watching on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, you're going to see it looks like this when you go to that website. It's super easy. TikTok, you're not seeing this graphic, but it's quick and easy. All right, go to winasylum.com and you can schedule a consultation with one of our asylum professionals. All right, TikTok, what's up? GGTR says, does studying in a good university help in your asylum case? Thank you for the question. Appreciate it. So the question is, does going to a good university help you in your asylum case? The answer is no, not really. You see, the asylum officer isn't really looking at things like, oh, is this person impressive as a person? Have they achieved things educationally or professionally or whatever that make them sort of look like, it's the kind of person that we want in our country? Well, no, they don't really care about that stuff. They really want to know whether you meet the requirements for asylum. And basically, it's really three things. Have you been harmed in the past in a way that is sufficiently severe to count as persecution, as that term is understood in U.S. asylum law? Number two, what about the future? Are you likely to be harmed in the future in a way that is sufficiently severe to rise to the level of persecution? And third, what's the reason for that harm? In other words, what's the motivation? Why do they want to harm you? Why are they targeting you? Okay, because remember, it's got to be motivated, at least in significant part, by one of the 5 protected grounds: race, religion, nationality, political opinion, something called membership in a particular social group. So no, I mean, maybe a tiny bit, just sort of like subconsciously or informally, positive things like, oh, I go to a good school, or I have a great career, I own a business, and I employ people, things like that. Like they don't formally help you for sure. I mean, maybe there's a tiny bit of benefit, just like in the officer's mind, but you should not go out of your way to try to talk about those things. That's actually a major mistake that we see, is that people, they don't know what's important in an asylum case, and nor should you, right? This is highly complicated technical stuff. There's no expectation that you understand how asylum really works. But the problem is that when people don't really know, they think they know what's important. Like this, for example, like, oh, I need the officer to know that I go to a good university or that I got this fancy degree. And so they spend a lot of time and effort trying to talk about those things at their interview or court hearing, when really the officer is just like, no, it's not relevant. I don't want to hear about that. And so it's really just frustrating for the officer or the judge. And you're just missing opportunities to talk about the things that really do matter to your case. So first and foremost, you need to figure out, you need to try to learn what is important in an asylum case. Like, what does the officer or judge really want to know? And I published a video on YouTube, I think just like a week or so ago, with the title something like "What the Judge Really Wants to Know About Your Asylum Case," or something like that, where I discuss in detail this exact topic. Like, what is the judge looking for? What do they care about? You need to know that so that you can be prepared to give it to them with your testimony in your immigration case, okay? All right, let's go to more questions. Okay. Nice. Ha, that's funny. All right, so we've got this question here. Okay, yeah, I get it. Nice. All right, let's go back to TikTok. Thank you for the question. Do you have an office? Sam B says, do you have an office in Columbus, Ohio? No, we don't have an office in Columbus, but here's the thing. We help clients all over the country, okay? It doesn't matter where you live. So we're based in Houston, Texas, right? But we have clients all over. Lots in California, lots in Florida, lots in New York, lots around Chicago, and yes, including Ohio, okay? See, we're able to help people in immigration offices and courts all over the country. With immigration law, it's considered a federal thing. So you don't have to, it's federal law. You don't have to be, the lawyer doesn't have to be licensed in every state or in the particular state where, you're handling a case. Rather, in immigration, you just have to be licensed as a lawyer in any state, in any of the US states, and then you can do immigration law in all of them. So that's how we're able to help people all over the country. And the law is the same. So that is how that works. Okay. All right, let's go to the next question. So on YouTube, we've got this question. I already submitted my asylum application. Is it too late to get your help? Thank you for asking. The answer, so the question is it too late to get a lawyer's help with your asylum case after you've already filed the application? The answer is absolutely not. Okay. We help people all the time after they've already applied for asylum because there's a lot that you can still do to improve your case. There's really 3 steps that we take. First, we are going to put together what is called an asylum roadmap. This is a packet of documents that we're going to submit before your asylum interview or court hearing, where we're explaining your case in writing. It's going to consist of a declaration from you, evidence from you that we're going to make a list of and ask you to try to get, and then a legal brief in which we write out in writing. We put forth exactly how you meet all the requirements for asylum, applying the facts to the law, okay, and citing to country of origin information that backs up what we're saying. The idea is before you walk into your asylum interview, we want the asylum officer to be going, okay, hey, based on the documents in this case, I can already see how the person meets all the requirements for asylum. That's what this asylum roadmap is going to do. It's going to show them how to get to the answer yes in your case in the easiest way possible. Okay. Now, the second thing that we're going to do is preparation. Once your interview gets scheduled, we're going to go pretty intensely about preparing you for that interview. And the key here is a mock interview or a simulated interview where you're going to experience everything that's going to happen on the day of your real interview in terms of all the different processes and procedures throughout the day. This way, you're going to go into the real interview calm and comfortable and confident because you already know what kind of questions you're going to ask. You're going to get asked. You know what it feels like to be in this position. You know what the different procedures all are for the day. All of this is going to help you. And then third, we're going to represent you during your interview. We're going to make sure that your rights are protected and that the asylum officer understands your case and understands and sees how you qualify for asylum. So there's a lot that we can still do to increase your chances for success, even though you may be applied on your own or with the help of, a form preparer or or even another lawyer. All right. So call us. Call us. That number is 713-909-0401. Okay. You're seeing it on the screen right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's 713-909-0401. That's where you can call us to schedule this appointment. It's called an asylum strategy session where one of our asylum professionals is going to analyze your case and understand your situation, and we're going to tell you whether we think we can help you. And if so, we're going to explain exactly how we're going to do that. We're going to set forth the concrete steps that we're going to take to improve your case and give you the best possible chance to secure your future in America through asylum. Okay? All right. Let's see. What else? You can go to the easiest way, honestly, to schedule this consultation with us is go to winasylum.com. Go to winasylum, WINASYLUM.com. That's the easiest way to schedule an appointment with us, okay? All right, next question. Brian, any chance my UK asylum fingerprint showing up here in the immigration court? Interesting question. I don't know. I think the chances of that happening are very slim. I think the answer is probably no. But my advice is to be open and honest about everything, whether that means being honest about having applied for asylum in the UK or having had legal problems in the UK, whatever the case may be. I do encourage you to be open and honest about everything, okay? Whether or not the court or the prosecutor actually knows about those things, okay? If it comes up or if you're asked about it, if it's something that's asked about in the application form or if you're asked about it at your interview, I recommend that you be open and honest about it, okay? Okay. Can you submit a previously submitted declaration for the same case, is what Maggie asks. Thanks, Maggie. The question here is, can you submit a declaration for your asylum case that is the exact same as one that you already submitted previously? So this question comes up in the context of people who had an interview with USCIS, an affirmative asylum interview, and then their case gets basically denied. It's called it referred to the immigration court. The asylum office says, nope, you're not eligible for asylum. We're going to try to deport you. And they put you in deportation proceedings in court. And the question is, okay, so now that I'm in court, can I just like use this same declaration that I used at the asylum office? And the answer is, yeah, you can use it again. Actually, the court will almost certainly have a copy of it because the whole immigration file, everything from your whole immigration process so far, gets transferred to the immigration court. But if you want the judge to consider it, yeah, you could resubmit the same thing. But here's the thing. You need to do this a little bit differently. It's different in immigration court. I strongly recommend that you get a lawyer to help you and that you redo your declaration, okay? This is a really crucial part of any case, and you need to do it right, okay? So I think you should get a lawyer to help you this time with the declaration, okay? All right. Nice. How long does it take for the I-730, the whole process? Country is Jordan. So the question is, how long does it take to bring a family member here on the basis of Form I-730? So what is this all about? Well, after you win asylum, if you've got a spouse or children have to be under age 21 and unmarried. If you've got spouse and children that are overseas, once you get asylum, you can make a petition to bring them to the United States on the basis of your asylum status. And the form that you use to ask for this is called Form I-730. So the question is, how long does that whole thing take? Well, I checked a while ago and it was the average processing time to even get an approval of that form was like 18 months. But then it takes even longer because then you've got to arrange an interview at the U.S. Embassy or consulate abroad for your family members to go and get this document that's going to allow them to actually get on the plane and come to the United States on this basis. So it could be like 20 months, could be 2 years. Now, you can expedite this in some cases, and we actually have had success with this. We've made the argument that, look, the family is in danger there for certain reasons, and we therefore ask you, USCIS, to speed this whole process up, and it has worked. It did go much, much faster. We had it from start to finish. We had it recently for a family that start to finish was about 4 or 5 months from the time the person submitted the I-730 to the time that the family got here. Quite quick. I know it's still a long time to be away from your family, I know, but it's quick for immigration processes, all right? Universal says, after 2 years, should I sue for an asylum interview? Thanks for the question. So the question is, can you sue USCIS in a mandamus lawsuit to force your interview if you've been waiting for 2 years to get your asylum interview? I got to say, no, I think I would wait longer. I recommend that you wait longer. We're telling people right now, based on our experience, having done this a lot lately, that 3 years is really the minimum we think you should wait to be in a pretty good position to have success with this lawsuit. If you don't know, a mandamus lawsuit is a super powerful tool to force USCIS to give you your interview and your decision. It's effective where the government has been delaying and they haven't taken action on your case in a reasonable time. So what's reasonable? Well, our standard right now is at least 3 years, and that's from the time that you applied. So if you applied and you've been waiting 3 years or more, then we think that you're in a pretty good position to sue and have success getting your interview through this mandamus lawsuit. But 2 years, no, I wouldn't do it. Thanks for the question. All right. Asylum appointment referred to a judge. Been here with family since 2016. Can I seek job sponsors to withdraw? You shouldn't. All right. So the question is, if you're in immigration court, can you get out of it by getting a legal immigration status based on a job? And the answer is, it's complicated. I can't answer that without knowing like a lot of facts, but even still, it's not the kind of case that we help with. If you are in immigration court proceedings, or even if you're not, and you just have like an asylum case pending with USCIS and you're thinking, I wonder if I could possibly get status based on like employment or investment, then you need to talk to an immigration officer who focuses on employment or investment-based immigration, okay? I'm an asylum lawyer, and we just do asylum. We do asylum all day, every day. It's what we focus on. It's what I think we're really good at. So I'm not in a position, I'm not up to speed, I'm not up to date on these other complicated areas of immigration law like investment and employment-based immigration. So you don't want my advice on that. And to be honest, I think that the same thing is true when we talk about asylum that you do want my advice and you don't want the advice of somebody who doesn't focus on asylum, okay? There's a lot of immigration lawyers out there that are like, oh, we do all kinds of immigration, right? You know, we do family-based immigration, employment, asylum, all this stuff. I don't think that's a good choice for you, okay? You want to work with the professional who is laser focused on the exact problem that you need solved, okay? And we do asylum. That's what we do all day, every day. So if you've got an asylum problem or you want to win asylum in the United States, then we would love to talk with you, okay? The easiest way to do that, to talk with us about your asylum case, is to go to the website winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. You can schedule a consultation with us. At the moment, we're offering these for free, okay? We used to charge, but right now it's free. And I hope you'll take advantage of that and book a consultation with us now so that we can see whether we can help you secure your future in America through asylum, okay? All right, let's go to some more questions. So on YouTube, we've got, where is the best asylum office for winning asylum? San Francisco. These statistics sometimes change like a little bit from year to year. And also I should say that there's not any recent statistics on this, but overall, over like the last several years, on average, by far, the best office for asylum is San Francisco. They have the highest approval rates, okay? Los Angeles is also high. Newark, New Jersey also has high approval rates. Those three are like usually a lot higher than the rest of them. Also, kind of a little bit surprisingly, New Orleans is also a high approval rate. But then there's a huge drop off after those. Actually, Chicago too is pretty high, and Arlington, Virginia. Chicago and Arlington are like okay, kind of in the middle. After those, there's a big drop off. Like Miami, Houston, or Boston, and actually New York, the New York Asylum Office. All four of those are very low approval rates. They're very, very difficult to win asylum in. Okay, so yeah, take that for what it's worth. Remember the discussion that we had earlier, though, about don't lie about your address, okay? Don't do that. That's immigration fraud. All right, thanks. Nice. All right, can one travel with TPS and advanced parole? Good question, Kayla. Thank you on TikTok. So the question is, if you've got an asylum case pending, can you travel abroad if you've got TPS and advanced parole based on your TPS? Here's the thing. If your case is pending with USCIS, then it may be possible to travel abroad and come back to the United States. However, I recommend that you seek advanced parole based on your pending asylum case. Because when you fill out that form, right, to get the advanced parole, it asks like what the basis, like what status you have that, or what your situation is that might allow you to be eligible to get this advanced parole. I recommend that you do it based on asylum and not on TPS. It can complicate things and make it more tricky if you get it based on TPS. There's some concern that the asylum office could consider you to have abandoned your asylum case if you travel abroad even with advanced parole, if it's not based on your pending asylum case. So with USCIS, yes, you can do it. If your case is in immigration court, no. You can't travel abroad while your case is in immigration court. If you do, it's like a self-executed. It constitutes a deportation order if you travel abroad while you're in deportation proceedings. So if your case is with the immigration court, no, you can't travel abroad. Okay. All right. Nice. After my asylum is approved, could I put in for a green card? Yep. Thanks, Neen or Nene. Thank you for the question on TikTok. So the question is, can you get a green card based on the fact that you won asylum? Good news. Yes, asylum is basically permanent. There are some circumstances in which you can lose it, though. It doesn't come with all the same privileges and rights and protections that other statuses have, like permanent residency and then citizenship. Citizenship is the gold standard. That's what your goal should be. That's where you have the most rights and the most protections. Pretty much impossible to deport a citizen unless they prove that like you lied to get your citizenship. So that's what you want to be shooting for. And the good news is that 1 year after you win asylum, you're eligible to get a green card, also known as like permanent residency, right? Based on your asylee status. So 1 year after you have gotten asylum, you can get your green card. All right. And then once you get your green card, you got to wait 4 years to be able to apply for U.S. citizenship. So it goes Asylum, wait 1 year then 1 year after asylum to get your green card, and then 4 years to apply for U.S. citizenship, which you should do. You should do those two things: apply for your green card and apply for citizenship as soon as as soon as it's possible, as soon as you're eligible to apply for them, because you want to move down that chain as fast as possible, because you want to get citizenship as fast as possible, because that's the best, most stable status. Thanks for the question. All right. So, can I, from Ahmed says, can I change immigration lawyers? For sure. Absolutely. Thanks for the question. So the question is, can you change asylum lawyers? And yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter whether your asylum case is pending with USCIS or in immigration court. In either case, you can definitely change immigration lawyers. You can find the best asylum lawyer for you, the person that you think is going to give you the best possible chance of winning your case, and hire that person. It's not going to hurt you in either case, in either context, okay? So in the asylum office, it's super easy. Like, you don't have to do anything. The new lawyer just sends in a G28 that says, hey, I'm now representing this person. That's it. They take that and they go, okay, you're the new lawyer. We're going to correspond with you. We're going to consider you the new lawyer. In immigration court, there's like an extra step. You have to actually ask the judge to be substituted. You have to ask the lawyer has to ask the judge, oh, hey, I want to be the lawyer on this case now. I want you to move the other person off the case and put me on it. And it's not hard. It's just a formality you have to go through. Like, you as the applicant, you need to write a letter that says, John used to be my lawyer, or John is my old lawyer. Now I want Brian to be my lawyer. And you sign it. And then I include that with a little motion where I say, Judge, please make me the lawyer on this case. And the judge will approve it. So yeah, for sure you can. Okay. You shouldn't feel bad about it. This is so important. You need to do whatever is necessary to give yourself the best possible chance to win your asylum case. So if your current lawyer is not cutting it, if they're not inspiring confidence in you that they're going to give you the best chance to win your case, get a new lawyer. Okay. This is too important not to do so. It will not look bad. Neither the asylum officer nor the immigration judge looks down on the fact that someone has changed lawyers. This happens all the time. Like, every day there's changes in lawyers. So it's not a problem at all. All right. All right. Let's go now to TikTok. My asylum case was administratively closed when I was 16 years old. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. What can I do? You can probably get status through your U.S. citizen spouse. Talk to a lawyer who focuses on family-based immigration. Okay. All right. Nice. If I ask my... Nice. So cool. Very kind of you. Thank you for that. Yep, there we are. Boom. Okay, let's go back over. Let's go to Facebook. What do we have on Facebook? Can I choose where to apply for? Oh, you mean choose immigration court? I got the question. Got it. Thank you. Thanks for the question. So the question is, can you choose whether you want to have your asylum case heard at the asylum office or in immigration court? No, you can't. So how this works is it's determined by whether you're in deportation proceedings, okay? If you're in deportation proceedings, you're going to apply with and have your case considered by an immigration judge in immigration court. If you're not in deportation proceedings, your case is going to be with USCIS, the immigration agency. How do you know whether you're in deportation proceedings? Well, if you've ever gotten a letter or a document called a notice to appear, it's this formal looking document that says, we allege that you are removable or eligible to be deported because you're not a citizen of the United States and you came on a visa and you were allowed to stay for 6 months, but you overstayed your visa and you don't have permission to be here. So you can be deported. Once this document gets filed with an immigration court, that starts the deportation process against someone. And your data, your info should appear after that in the immigration court systems. And you can check if you're like, I'm not sure if I've ever gotten a letter like that. You can check by calling the immigration court, or you can just Google EOIR case status. Again, Google EOIR case status and use your A number, your immigration number, your alien number to check your case status. And if you check with EOIR and they tell you, or you see on the screen, like no case found for this number, that means that no, you're not in deportation proceedings, at least not yet. So that's how you know whether your case is going to be with USCIS, is for people who are not in deportation proceedings, or with immigration court for people who are in deportation proceedings. Now, of course, some people start out with USCIS, but then they end up in immigration court. If you get a negative decision from USCIS after your asylum interview, they look at the moment that they make that negative decision and they go, okay, does this person have status right now? And if the person does not have status, like let's say still a valid tourist status or a business-based status or like a student status, if you don't have the status and you get a negative decision from USCIS, you're going to be put in deportation proceedings. USCIS is going to create this document called a notice to appear, and they're going to send it to you, a copy, and they're going to file it with the immigration court, and you're in deportation proceedings. The government is trying to deport you. The good news, though, is that you get a second chance to explain your case. You get to explain it anew before the immigration judge, and the immigration judge will decide whether to give you asylum, okay? All right, or instead, an order of deportation. If you get an order of deportation, you can appeal. You have 30 days from the date of the judge's decision to file an appeal with a body called the Board of Immigration Appeals, BIA, okay? All right, give us a call. Listen, if you want to talk with one of our asylum professionals, call us, okay? The number, TikTok, you can go to my profile and see this number. It's 713-909-0401. Again, it's 713-909-0401. 0401. That's where you can call us to schedule your asylum strategy session. Go ahead and do it right now. I would love to hear from you. Love talking with people to see what's going on in their lives with their immigration situation and tell them whether we think we can help them to secure their future in America through asylum. So call us. All right. Let's talk. All right. Very good. Very good. What do we have here? Okay. If my case has been waiting for 7 years for interview, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So thanks for the question. The question is, if you've been waiting for 7 years for your asylum interview, what can you do about it? Well, listen, you need to sue the government. It's called a mandamus lawsuit. We've been using this tool a ton recently to great effect. It's super powerful. Basically, you're asking a federal judge in a lawsuit to tell USCIS that it needs to do its job. It needs to give you your interview and your decision because this delay in your case is unreasonable. So it's not crystal clear what unreasonable means, but really we're thinking anything past about 3 years starts to be unreasonable. And so, yeah, for the person who asked this question, you've been waiting for 7 years, there is a very high chance that you will have success with this mandamus lawsuit, okay? Because that is a very, very long time. It's definitely unreasonable. You should call us. Actually, better than calling us, go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, and schedule an asylum strategy session with us right now, okay? 7 years, very, very good chance for success with getting your interview scheduled. Follow-up, but won't that hurt my case? Does it make me look bad? Good question. Thank you for it. So the question is, will suing the government to force your asylum interview hurt your underlying asylum case? And we get this question all the time. It's completely reasonable. I understand it, how you could think this, right? It's like, okay, well, when it's time for my asylum interview, is the asylum officer going to be mad or hold it against me or want to get revenge or whatever because I dared to sue the U.S. government, because I took this bold step to confront and challenge the U.S. government? The answer is no. I don't think they will at all. In fact, I don't worry at all about this negatively affecting my client's asylum case. All right. There's 3 reasons. First of all, they might not even know. When I was an asylum officer with the government, we didn't know that someone had sued when they sued, and then I interviewed them. That kind of information that they had sued just didn't go in the asylum file, so I didn't even know about it. Second, even if they do know, I don't think it's going to be a big deal, okay? In the United States, we are a very litigious society. That's a fancy word to mean we sue a lot. It's just not a big deal. I think they're probably going to understand that, someone in your position who's been waiting years for the interview is going to assert their right to have their case considered. It's reasonable. I don't think they're going to think it's too wild or ridiculous or crazy or bad, okay? And then third, they can't formally hold this against you. There's only certain things that the officer can use as reasons in a denial to say, oh, we're denying them for these reasons. And this is not one of them. In the formal analysis they have to do, where they have to write out their explanation, their reasoning, in making their decision, they cannot cite to this. They cannot use the fact that, oh, this person sued the government. That's not a valid reason they can use to deny you. So no, I don't worry at all about this. All right. So do it. 7 years. Yeah, do it for sure. All right. Let's go back to TikTok. Can I apply for Form I821 for Mexico? No, you can't. Sorry. Nice. Let's go down to the bottom here. Let's see, hold on. What do I do after waiting 150 days filing I-589 in immigration court? So the question was, what do you do after waiting for 150 days? Hold on. Yeah. So thanks for the question. The question is, what can you do after you've been waiting for 150 days after having filed your asylum application? Well, that's when you can apply for a work permit. That's exactly the amount of time that you have to wait after applying for asylum to be eligible to apply for your work permit. It's also known as an employment authorization document, known as an EAD for its initials, right? And right now, the government's issuing these fast for first-time applicants. For asylum seekers who are seeking a renewal of their work permit, it's a very, very long time, like 18 months or longer. But for first-time EAD applicants based on a pending asylum case, it's fast. It's like usually it's like a month or two from the time the government receives your application to the time that they give you the work permit. So 150 days after you apply for asylum is when you can apply for the work permit. That's about 5 months, right? And then if it takes the government 1 or 2 months to actually give you the work permit, we're looking at maybe 7 months, right? From the time that you've applied until the time that you're likely to have the work permit actually in your hand and you can start working legally, based on your pending asylum case. Okay. So that's how that works. Right on. Then when I fill asylum, then can't I? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question there. If the asylum is administratively closed, what does it mean? And do I accumulate unlawful presence? Thanks for asking. So the question is, if your case in immigration court is administratively closed, what does that mean? First of all, and second, are you accruing unlawful presence? And what does it mean? Well, it means that your case is kind of on pause. There is still a deportation process against you. It's just that they've paused it. They've said, you know what? We're going to put this case on the shelf. We're not going to schedule any new hearings for this. It's just basically like a pause. Someday they could open it back up. The judge could schedule a hearing for you. So it hasn't gone away. You're still in deportation proceedings. Now, the good news though, is that you're not accruing unlawful presence. Apparently, since you asked the question, you know what that is. I'm not going to explain it here, but that's the good news for you. Now, I want to say though, things are different if a case is actually dismissed from immigration court. If a case is dismissed, not administratively closed, but dismissed, then the case goes away. You are not in deportation proceedings. The government's not trying to deport you. However, in that case, you do start getting unlawful presence, okay? Yeah. By the way, when I said that you are not accruing unlawful presence when your case is administratively closed, that's assuming that you have your asylum application pending, that like you applied for asylum and you never withdrew the application. It's still pending. That's what protects you from getting unlawful presence. And it keeps protecting you even though the case is administratively closed because your asylum case still exists. It's just kind of on pause. But if your case is dismissed, your asylum case disappears too. Like it's not considered pending anymore. So then you are accruing unlawful presence. Right on. All right. That's it for today. Thank you on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and over here on TikTok. It's a pleasure. I'm Brian Manning. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help people all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. And the best way to reach out to us to get in touch so that we can have a consultation and talk about your situation is to go to winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com, winasylum.com. That's the easiest way to book a consultation. It's quick, it's easy, and we look forward to talking with you real soon. All right. As always, it is a pleasure to support you in your asylum journey. Thank you. And I want to see you soon on a live or talk to you in a consultation. Let's do that. All right.